everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Hey, if you're on Patreon, you know you're on Patreon and you know we're live. And when we're live, that means you get to ask questions. So I get the first half of the hour, you guys get the second half. So get your questions into Jolene and we're going to get down to business. Once again, do I have a list of stuff to talk about? Yeah, it's a fucking list that keeps going and going and going. It's the Energizer Bunny list. But if you think the Energizer Bunny had, longevity, the longevity of the stupid does not continue, folks. It's hit the fan, right? It's no longer the question is, should I invest in Tesla or Apple or Amazon? No. We don't have those kind of questions to ask anymore. Should I send my kid to a private school or should I send my kid to a public school? No, we're not done. That doesn't matter anymore, right? Where should I put my third house, right? Should I get one in a foreign country or just another one in the United States jurisdiction? It doesn't. Those questions are gone. That world is over. Now we have this world where we spend trillions of dollars, supposedly, ostensibly, for not only personal reasons for our country, but also just being generally altruistic and helping the Afghan people be freed from the Taliban. Let's spend trillions of dollars there. Thousands of American lives lost, men and women hurt, harmed, crippled, injured, affected psychologically forever. War is hell. War is hell. And we did that in Afghanistan. And then in a matter of a split second, jackass Gigi Biden decides to just give it back. And nobody knew it was coming. The Afghanis didn't. The military really didn't. And certainly the 30 to 50,000 American citizens inside Afghanistan working as teachers, contractors, employees. I don't know what they're doing there, but that's a lot of people. Plus government workers. Got to have government workers. Anywhere there's government, got to have government workers. They're now trapped over there, left. Now get this, folks. Never mind the fact that the administration was like, who gives a hoot? All right, me and Corn Pop, we used to deal with this kind of stuff all the really, just forget it, just leave them on their own. Well, the Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, jackass extraordinaire. And you'll notice, folks, I don't cut anyone any slack in this administration or anyone who's an idiot altogether or even in part. This is what Lloyd Austin says about the Americans who have been stranded there by their own government. Now, let's see, we were willing to go to war and kick the ever-loving shit out of Iran back in 1979. Reagan was going to go in there and clobber the shit out of them, over 444 hostages that were taken by the Iranians. Here we are, 42 years later, and it's not the Iranians taking hostages, it's the American government creating them by abandoning them in a country run now by a bunch of lunatics. And Lloyd Austin says stranded Americans only have until the clock runs out to somehow get out. Really, the clock that's going to run out is not a plane, not a train, not an automobile. It's going to be the clock that runs out when the Taliban catches them. Yeah, we know when the clock runs out, dickhead. What are you doing to get them out? It's my understanding that in the last 24 hours, folks, 2,000 people have been evacuated, and only 300 of them were Americans. Less than 15% of the people evacuated from that country by our country were Americans. These are Americans. These are our citizens. These are number one priority. Now, folks, understand this. Shit has hit the fan. Worldwide catastrophe. It used to be that what separated Americans from all other nationalities, not races, nationalities, was that American lives were valuable. All of them were valuable. And you only had to say, I'm an American, and governments would be hands off. They wouldn't mess with a single American knowing they would get their asses handed to them if they messed up. And it was different. American lives mattered. Now they don't. Folks, how many people died in 9/11? between 3,000 and 4,000. And the government created the Patriot Act, which violates our constitutional rights, empowers the government to take incredible amounts of action against everyone on the planet, including its own citizens. They used 9/11 as the excuse to go to war in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and to put the world on notice. You're either with us or against us, because 3,000 plus lives were lost. Now, let's be generous and say it's only 30,000 lives. 10 times the amount of American lives or more are at risk of being lost. And our government's like, fuck it, we don't care. That's the world you live in now, folks. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Get a plan together, folks. It's better late than never to start prepping. And we're getting a ton of people, folks, on YouTube and then over on Patreon, the Prepared Mind on patreon.com. It's getting huge. People are now realizing the gig is up, right? And they're getting it. And everyone better wake the hell up with what is going on. It is astounding. Just the absolutely worthless, abject, incompetent, uncaring, unsympathetic government that has caused this problem and putting American lives at risk. Now, on Patreon, folks, you guys get all the links to the news stories. You get the Worldwide Weekly Wrap-Up uncensored, and you also get Patreon-only news articles, videos, presentations, health presentations, all kinds of stuff, right? But apparently, according to an important person, there is increased risk of severe problems that you would think would not be there. That's a Patreon-only article. It's a teaser. I know it's a fucking teaser, and that's how that works. But it's over there. And if you are on Patreon, hey, I'm telling you, you got to check these links out. You got to check them out. Now, here's something I can talk about. Okay, so the Taliban gets to do this. They get to keep their Twitter account open. A radical, anti-female, anti-freedom, anti-everything except what they believe in group has taken over control of Afghanistan. They are already killing women and children and men and soldiers and police, executing them on camera for the world to see. I've got the videos. I've got a couple of them, and I'm not sharing them. Can't do it. Wouldn't be prudent. Wouldn't be allowed. I've seen it now. It's not just reports, folks. It's out there. And these people get to keep their Twitter account while the elected officials who are Afghanis, they've had their accounts pulled. Why? For what reason? Don't worry, there's other social media like WhatsApp. Well, guess what? Chicken butt. Guess what? The Taliban has gotten into WhatsApp groups. And they're threatening to, quote, chop into pieces and, quote, throw away females who show up to class wearing lipstick and nail polish. How is it they're able to infiltrate groups? Who's giving the Taliban this special technical power? Literally, folks. I'm going to chop you into pieces and throw you away. Now, here's the deal. Wearing lipstick and nail polish. Well, maybe they could see their fingers if they're writing with a pencil or something. I mean, is Taliban going to be in each classroom watching each student? Now, if they're wearing their burqa, their face covering, how would they know they're wearing lipstick? Folks, it's going to get ugly, ugly, ugly. Students, female students, little girls, young women, if you will, you're done. It's cooked, but that's fine. You can have social media and not get kicked off. You can have Twitter and not get kicked off. You can have Facebook and not get kicked off. You're the Taliban. You're special. Because guess what? They do everything our government does. Yeah. In some cases, they do things a little better, but basically they censor other people. They punish them socially. They punish them physically, and they kill them. What's going on in Washington, D.C. with the January 6th protesters who were invited into the Capitol by police who let them in the door, said hi, waved, even posed for pictures? How many dead police officers from the Washington Metro Police Department, how many have committed suicide since January 6th? What are we up to now? The Taliban likes to censor people, silence people, throw people in prison, make them feel small, bad, harassed, make them cover their faces with burqas. I guess we've got it good. We're only covering our nose and mouth, right? Oh, it's getting stupid, folks. It's getting stupid. Oliver Uman sent me a thing that Illinois doctor is being threatened to lose his license because he opposes what someone else has to say, someone who must be more important than him. Just utterly, utterly, utterly crazy, folks. I'm moving down the list as fast as I can. I've got so much to talk about, but I want to get to your questions. I want to see what you're thinking about. This is a huge, huge, huge one. Are you ready for this? Is this a false waving of the flag? Is it a distraction? What is this? Right? Today in Washington, D.C., while Congress is gone, Republicans, Democrats, the House, the Senate, they're gone. Joseph Biden is, I think, back in Delaware. I don't know, getting a brain transfusion. He's back there. No one's in D.C., and some guy decides he's going to show up outside the Library of Congress, and he threatens the whole world with a bomb. Right? I'm going to blow everything up, but I want you to hear what this guy has to say. The guy is a 49-year-old. His name is Floyd Ray Roseberry of North Carolina. He finally did surrender, folks. No one died. Right? No one died. It's unclear whether there actually were explosives or not. Let me tell you what this guy had to say. It's kind of incredible. To me, it's just unbelievable what they say this man claimed, because it fits right into a narrative. They finally got their narrative, and perfect timing too, as the Biden administration just screws everything up. Oh, a guy shows up and threatens to blow up the Capitol, right? He said this, folks. The revolution is on. It's here. If you blow my truck up, it's on you, Joe. I'm ready to die for the cause. What cause? What cause? The cause I like to talk about is freedom and liberty, law and order and peace. I don't know what cause this guy is talking about. He continued, this zinger. He says, if you could do anything to save one life, even one life, you said you'd do it. Well, here's your chance. I want to go home to see my wife. If you want to shoot me and take the chance of blowing up 2.5 city blocks because that toolbox is full of ammonium nitrate. Well, okay. If this guy was interested in his life being saved and going home and seeing his wife, he should have just stayed home and saw his wife. You don't drive and threaten to blow up a couple of city blocks and then expect you're going to go home to North Carolina and see your wife. And this whole thing about if you want to save one life, it's just stupid nonsense. And then he has this to say. I'm telling you, bud, the South's here. There's 5 of us spread across your little DC part here. What the hell is he talking about? 5 of them. Now, the line, though, that is most telling about this being fake. The South's here. This is a reference to the Confederacy. This is a reference to the southern states, the states that want to be free. The Civil War, the South is here. The South never went into Washington, D.C. The South never invaded the North. Period. generally stopped. There's some history for you. There was never a desire by the South to invade the North, to take their property, to kill their people, to burn their farms, to destroy their businesses. That wasn't it. It was about them being left alone. This guy is taking an aggressive action into Washington, D.C. That is completely and against what the South stood for in the Confederacy. But here he is. The South's here. Just stinks to high heaven, folks. You know, for what? 30 years, people have just been saying, government, get off my ass. Government, get off my back. Government, get out of my wallet. Right? Let me be. I just don't like this. It smells, it smells, it smells. Right? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, except it serves the general desire for the mainstream media, big tech, and government, Democrat government, rhino government. It serves their desire to have a domestic violent extremist do something radical. Domestic violent extremist, white supremacist. This guy's got his head shaved, you know, not in a military high and tight, but just, you know, the optics, folks. White man, old white man, right, from the South, threatening to blow stuff up, talking about a revolution. Nobody, folks, in the South that wants to be free calls it a revolution. Left-wing lunatics over here. That's right. These ones way over here. They're the ones calling their movement a revolution. BLM, Antifa, they are the ones calling for revolution and a destruction of the country, the United States of America. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, here's a story. The Taliban. They go in and torch an amusement park, burn it to the ground, but only after they spent the day before playing on the bumper cars and screwing around there. Doesn't that sound like a bunch of totalitarian jerk-offs? They use everything they want, and when they're tired and done with it, they burn it to the ground. Sounds kind of like our government. They want to be free. They want to have power. Nancy wants to get her hair done. Prickster wants to send his wife to Florida. Gretchen the Grinch from Michigan, she gets to go to Florida and party it up. Gavin Newsom gets to have all the fun he wants in restaurants while everyone else is locked down. Folks, the Taliban sounds just like Democrats in the United States government and left-wing idiots in the European Union. There's going to be no smiles for anyone else except for them. I'm seeing a lot of parallels between a radical, backwards-ass, pseudo-religious group and the Taliban. That's right. You thought I was going to call the Taliban the backwards-ass pseudo-religion. No, pseudo-religion is climate change. Pseudo-religion is wokeness because it requires 100% adherence, no questions asked. Literally, no questions asked. No questioning the faith. Folks, this sounds like a bad dream. Any one of these topics that we discuss over the course of a week, any one of them, standing alone, any one of these topics could be enough to say shit has hit the fan. But look at this. It's everywhere, folks. It's absolutely everywhere. Everywhere. You know, and while we're talking about the Taliban, you know, they're killing women for not wearing a burqa. Woman on the street, no burqa, death sentence right there. Pow, done. Do you think the Taliban is going to stand up to their word with the United States of America, the government, not America, the government? Do you think that the Taliban in Afghanistan is going to respect, admire, negotiate with President Kamala Harris? Whether she's president or vice president, do you think they care? Or do you think they're going to look at her and say, no, there's a woman that needs to be killed. She's not wearing a burqa. It's just absolutely mind-boggling, folks, what is going on. I can't leave this one alone. I told you yesterday, the teacher who said, y'all parents are stupider than you are, right? And she was threatening everyone, giving a political rant to students, talking about how she was going to open a can of whoop ass on them. You remember that? You know, spewing her left-wing crap. We're going to make their lives a living hell if they even utter a word against an LBG person. She's going to make fun of them. She's going to put them down if they try disagreeing. That sounds like free speech. That sounds like academia. That sounds like a good debate, doesn't it? Ad hominem attack. I'm going to put you down. Well, guess what? She's been fired. Yeah, she was suspended yesterday. Didn't take them long to figure out you're fired. Gave her the Trump treatment, and not the fun one, right? Nobody grabbed her by the nuh-uh. I don't think anyone would want to. Not her, not that just ugly human being, folks. You know, they say beauty is only skin deep, but I'll add to that and say ugly goes to the bone. And you can tell when someone's ugly. You just can. You just can. Now, here's someone that I think is really cool. Big Marge Taylor Greene, right? She is leading the charge in the Republican Party. I'm ashamed of congressional men, right? She's leading the charge against Nancy Pants Pelosi. Now, maybe it's because she's already been trashed by them, and she's been, you know, fighting in the ditch and in the mud with these people, right? And what she's going to do is she's going to campaign against Rhino Democrats. She's going after them. And good. We need more of this, folks. We need them fighting up there in Washington, D.C. That's where they're supposed to fight all the time. We need representatives to go up there and stop that shit up there and fight them up there. We're already having enough trouble in our states and in our cities with these Democrat governors and mayors, are we not? It's incredible, folks. Look at the map. Look at the blue-red map, and you'll see and go, well, how is it these little blue areas get to tell everyone else what to do? Now, this is, again, I just, folks, right? It's better late than never that we're finding this stuff out. It's better late than never that you are getting food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And we're seeing a lot of traffic on the preparedmind.club, C-L-U-B, the preparedmind.club, which is our prepper superstore, where you can get a VPN, a virtual private network, to protect your computer, your identity, who you are, where you're at, whatever, right? Berkey water filter. You know, you go there to My Patriot Supply at thepreparedmind.com, click that button, get a Berkey water filter. You can get body armor. You can get communications radios and equipment. You can get solar panels and generators and stuff. You can get it. You need that equipment for SHTF. And it's better late than never to get started now. For all you new people, and I know you're out there, get food. I recommend at least 3 months worth of food. Make sure you have lots of protein, meat. Take the soy, throw it in the garbage can. Meat. Not plant-based meat substitute. Anyways, folks, you're getting prepared. Now, better late than never. All of a sudden, we've got CIA officials coming out. Former CIA analyst went after President Biden, his speech. And he says this: we sent Biden plan after plan on how to evacuate these people. Nobody listened. You know why, folks? Because they wanted to create this crisis. They wanted there to be a humanitarian crisis. They wanted the world to see all of these Americans stranded. And it's not just Americans, folks. British are stranded. Others are stranded there. They're trying to get to the airport where there's no airplanes to get on. The Taliban are blocking ways to get to the airport. None of this is going well. They wanted it to be this way. They wanted the optics to be shit. America is incompetent. Americans are stupid. But it's not. It's not me and you. It's the government. So the CIA analyst, says he's appalled. Appalled? Is that enough? If I order a hamburger, folks, and I say, "Can I have some Swiss cheese on that, please?" and it shows up with American, I'm appalled. If 10, 20, 30,000 Americans, 40,000 Americans are having their lives risked, it's more than fucking appalling. It's more than upsetting. It is a crime as far as I'm concerned. It is not just a whoops. Oh, why didn't anyone read line number 6 when we were talking? Worrying about American lives. Once again, folks, we got mad at Pearl Harbor. How many people died in Pearl Harbor? How many people died in 9/11, September 11th attacks? Never mind who did it. How many died? How many died on January 6th of 2021? 2 civilians were killed by the police, and a couple other people were killed. And they compared that to Pearl Harbor and 9/11. How many people, how many Americans right now are suffering, have been killed, are going to be killed because Joe Biden, President of the United States, screwed this up? Because Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, screwed this up. Because the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon screwed this up. And this guy, hello CIA, he wants to be appalled. Why don't you order 2 slices of cheese with that appalling comment? Not good enough. God, these people, I'm appalled. Well, really. So yeah, you want some specifics, right? 4 Afghan army and police commanders were taken to Kandahar Cricket Stadium. Cricket is like some weird-ass version of baseball. Executed them. I watched a video with a line of men, about a dozen men, all lined up, hands behind their back, on their knees, shot in the back of the head. Bam, 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 bam. I'm not going to show you guys. I really can't. I really can't. Literally, I can't. Otherwise, I would. I would say, children, cover your ears. Parents, cover their eyes. And then watch. Well, here's something that I can't even talk about. It's Patreon only, folks. A Trump-appointed judge made a ruling that is affecting Louisiana. I wish I could say more. And there's another one here. There is a patriotic woman who stood up at a board of supervisor meeting in San Diego and said, "We remove our consent," and read them the riot act, folks. Wake up. This video is inspiring, and it's packed with facts. It's packed with facts. That's what I like to talk about with you guys. And we're not allowed to, really. Not all the time. Some subjects, yes. This one, woman stood up and read them the riot act and told them the facts. People are starting to quote the Declaration of Independence. Normal people are starting to go, wait a minute, isn't there a Constitution? Wait a minute, don't we have rights? Aren't those rights inalienable? It doesn't say these rights are good until there's an emergency. It's getting there, folks. It's getting nasty. Now, I got a video by Dr. Roger Hodkinson. Can't do anything with that, folks. You would love to hear what that guy had to say. But let me tell you about this. This is something I can tell you about. This is not just appalling. This is shocking and saddening. It's way beyond appalling, folks. Shit has hit the fan. People are dying. And Afghani mothers are outside the Kabul airport. And you know what they're doing? They're tossing their babies to British soldiers. Catch, right, over the fence, handing them through the fence, whatever they can do to get their children, their babies, literally, in the hands of people who have the opportunity to save them. because the chaos is continuing, folks. Chaos is on. It's live. Shit has hit the fan in Kabul. All of Afghanistan, folks. Look how fast it can go from civilization to SHTF Mad Max. And it is Mad Max, folks. They're going door to door. Give us your guns. Give us your lipstick. Give us your nail polish. Here's some burqas. Anyone object? You step forward, bam. Anyone else want to object? No, no, no. Okay, fine. We'll be back next week to do another check. We're going to make sure you guys remember the Taliban rules. We know it's been about 18, 19 years since we were here, robbing, raping, murdering, and pillaging everything. Folks, it's absolutely awful. I want to get to your questions, though. I want to see what you guys want to talk about. There's some things I left on the board. There's some things I didn't talk about that are out there, and we'll see if you guys want to talk about it. What is important to you? Jolene, who do we have up next? Woo! Yep. While I'm waiting on that, here's another one I can't talk about that's over on Patreon. Yeah, we had an autopsy, and there were some horrific findings, says a German guy. Very interesting. Yep, can't talk about that. Yeah, you know, British paratroopers are taking their military vehicles through Kabul, trying to extract trapped United Kingdom English citizens, while Biden says you're on your own. There's nothing we can do, and you only have until the time runs out of the clock. That's America for you. At least the Brits have some respect. All right, we got PNW Prepper. He says, how long till our Air Force tech is cracked by the CCP and endangering our Air Force? Answer in 3, 2, 1. It's already done, folks. They've already cracked it. They've already cracked it. Those plans were sold to China years ago. I want to remind you of 2 military incidents that have occurred with the United States Navy. Or is it 3 or 4? One of them was the military ship up by Korea that was blacked out, shut down, and ran into another ship. The second incident I want to refer to happened in the Black Sea, off the coast of Sevastopol, the Crimean Peninsula, which is Russian, right next to Ukraine. There was I believe a U.S. destroyer was sailing along, just sailing along. And a couple of Russian fighters flew by, and the ship completely blacked out. Your question, when is the Air Force tech going to be cracked? It's not just the Air Force. Air Force, Navy, Army, Marines, tanks, jets, ships, everything is now computer controlled. What does it take? Do you need to necessarily hack in and control things from behind the scenes, plant in viruses, bugs, Trojan horses, worms, you know, all that technical techie talk? Or can you just zap it with a particular frequency or weapon and completely 100% disable it? Shut out the lights, turn off the computers, dead in the water. Pretty good question, huh? Well, we have examples of military equipment failing utterly. We know that Iran, this is years ago, folks. I believe it was approximately 10 years ago. Iran, not Iraq, not Afghanistan, Iran hacked one of our, $270 million spy drones. So it was one of the expensive ones. Hacked it, took control of it, landed it, and then showed the world, we got your stuff. They already know how to hack, crack, control, blackout. Just like we're fighting a war right now, folks, you and I, we're engaged in it. We're involved in it. We are on the battlefield. It is a psychological operation. Right? It is unconventional warfare. We're seeing all manner of life affected by this, from politics to education, to medicine, to economics, to finance, to social structures, to infrastructure, to the way we think about ourselves and the way we think about each other out here. See, I'm still operating on the main program. I'm not in this matrix of stupidity, right? Normal, critical thinking, rational, logical, understanding facts, being able to tell the difference between a lie and the truth. Because I can think back, well, yesterday, last year, 10 years ago, I can think back to the 1970s when I was just a small young man. And I know what America was about. And it was all fine until shit hit the fan in the spring of 2020. And now they're trying to tell us that world doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Right? That's an act of warfare to tell this country it doesn't exist. There is a psychological war, and they're using everything as an excuse. And it's actually a worldwide world war. Okay, we got Opie Waddell. He says, John, just put up a 12 kW ground mount Sol Arc system. Hot as hell here. Hot as hell here, okay? What would I do at 12 kW? I don't need that much power. 12 kilowatts, folks. That's just too much. I guess everyone could come and plug in their extension cords. All right, we got Sue Auger checks in. She says, with Joe, meaning President Joe Biden, that Joe. With Joe, the whole world knows the fox is guarding the hen house now. Let it rip. Let it rest in peace. Or are you saying let it rip? Let them have it. Folks, that's what we're doing. We're trying to do that every day. You know, calmly, coolly, rationally. Look at what's happening. Talk about it as long as we can. As long as the internet's up. As long as the lights are on. Right? As long as I can open the window and let in fresh air, we're all good, right? The whole world knows the fox is guarding the hen house. Who's the fox? Right? It's just incredible. It is not. I really at this point, folks, you know, you and I, we've been talking, and newer folks, forgive me, but you and I, the rest of you, have been here for years talking about what is going to happen, what is coming, what we can expect, how to be prepared, what we need to think about, what we need to do with our wealth, our money, our house, our family, people we love, people we don't love, how we need to think about defense, all these things, right? All these things. And it's confusing to me where we're at right now. I can't imagine just now waking up and going, oh shit, and trying to understand what happened. It's absolutely crazy. Let her rip. Folks, there's going to be a lot of people who are resting in peace, ripping. There's got to be a lot of people who lose their shit and let it rip because they don't know what to do. The most dangerous person to all of us are those that we don't know, those people out there that we don't know, and they don't know you. You represent a threat. You represent something they want. People are the biggest threat. I can deal with clouds, rain. I can deal with volcanoes and earthquakes. I can deal with the tsunami. I can deal with stuff, right? It's a known factor, right? Anyways, let us move on if we shall. Dangerous Freedom checks in and he says, I've seen all the military-aged refugees they are bringing in. Am I the only one concerned about this? No, you're not. You're not the only one concerned about this. What he's talking about, these refugees, are the ones who are coming in through the southern border of the United States of America, out of Mexico and into our country. We've been told by the Biden administration, those people that you're seeing are migrant workers who come up here every year. Well, That's not quite true. Those people coming up here are families. How many reports did I read that children are brought along with them, and then as soon as they get across the border, they abandon the children? These children are ending up in these refugee cages that Barack Hussein Barry Soetoro Obama started back during his regime and have been reinstituted under the Biden regime. They're overcrowded. The people, sadly, that are guarding them are being accused of abusing them in multiple different ways. It is a complete and total shitstorm. There's no accountability. There's no knowing what's going on. And yes, a lot of these people coming up are, when you say military aged, they're young men, ages, 16 to 26. That's military age. We don't know who these people are. We don't know if they are military. We don't know anything about them. But there's certainly the reason the military folks, when you enlist in the military, when you become a commissioned officer after you get your diploma in college, you're age 18 to 25 typically, because you're young and energetic. You don't know much, right? But you've got a lot of energy, a strong back, and a willingness to perform. You'll get it done, right? And that's the problem, right? Young men can run far. Young men can lift a lot. Young men can make a mission complete. Yeah, it is very concerning. It's going to be even more concerning if out of every 2,000 people brought back from Afghanistan, if 1,700 of them are Afghanis and only 300 of them are Americans. Now, the 1,700 Afghanis per day, which is the average or the total we got yesterday, who's going to teach them to be Americans? Where are they going to stay? Who's going to pay for them? Why? Just so many questions. Why? It's incredible. There's another video I had that's going to be on Patreon only. And the speaker said this: nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing can stop what is coming. I recommend checking that out. Now, Todd and Prepared said this, and thank you very much, Todd and Prepared. He says, what do you think about the $3.5 trillion proposal? Money printer goes brrr. The system is broke financially, monetarily, economically. It's broken. This is not the first time in history that this has happened. Not even the first time it's happened in America. They have exported our manufacturing, and manufacturing is where you take a resource and you take it to a manufacturing plant, a processing facility, and you do something to it to make it more useful. So you spend, let's see, you got a pound of product X. You take product X, you spend $1 on it, and now it's worth $20 because now it's been refined or processed or changed into something useful. That's what manufacturing does. It increases the value of raw materials. Wood becomes lumber, right? Something very valuable and useful. Ore becomes steel. Can't do much with ore, right? You smelt it into steel, it becomes useful. Silica sand becomes a computer chip. Stuff like that, you know. Grass gets eaten by a cow, becomes a hamburger, right? Food. They've ruined everything. So when this happens in an economy, and there are many, many examples historically in the United States and then back through history, in the last few years around the world, let's see, we've had a failure of the economy and the currency in Argentina, Zimbabwe. Back in the 20s, we had the failure of the Weimar Republic, the Germans. And what happens is the money the people realize doesn't have much value. There's a lot of it out there, and I mean, if I could print $1,000 bills off of the computer and they would be accepted, right, would people think that $1,000 bills are safe and good and have real value? No, they'd be like, anyone can print these things. Well, right now, the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury are printing trillions and trillions of dollars, as noted by Dodd and Prepared. People are like, well, if you can just print money out of thin air, how valuable is it? Right? It's just going to get worse, folks. We've got, in my opinion, hyperinflation has started. Now, when you say hyperinflation, it doesn't mean everything happens all at once. Everything is a process. Everything takes time. So we need to not look at history as a snapshot. The Weimar Republic had hyperinflation. Well, it took a number of years to destroy their currency. Right now, our currency is being destroyed with this hyperinflationary printing. You can't just print money and give it to people and say, see, that has value. It really doesn't. I'm not getting any of that free money. There's going to be, what, $3 trillion out there, $2 trillion, $1 trillion? I'm not going to see a whole lot of that. Someone else is getting the benefit of that money, but all that money creation is going to make the rest of our money just seem less valuable. Let's move on, shall we? Got Heidi says, why did Afghanistan soldiers just give up so quickly? Because they were sold out. They were absolutely sold out. The leader there in Afghanistan cut a deal and said, I'll leave. Apparently he took 4 cars, stuffed them literally full of cash, and left the country. I don't know how he got 4 cars out. I don't know how it worked. I didn't want to read the details. I was basically nauseated. He checked out. The United States government apparently cut a sweetheart of a deal. Said, look, give us until September, whatever, and we'll get our people out of there, right? Just take your time getting to Kabul. Let us get everyone out. They didn't. They rushed into Kabul, and then they're like, well, we're really mad at you. You said you weren't going to do this, Taliban. The same Taliban who's been getting blown to bits in fighting and guerrilla warfare in Afghanistan for the last 20 years. You think they're going to really give a shit what the United States government thinks of it? I'll give you an example, Heidi. Big tech, Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. What are they doing? They're cooperating with the Taliban. They must have known this. They weren't surprised by it. They're like, okay, yeah, let's silence all elected officials in Afghanistan. Let's empower the Taliban with social media power. Back in the United States, President Donald Trump, silent. Murderous thugs in Afghanistan, have all the access you want. This was planned. This was understood. This was known. Now, to your question specifically, Heidi, the Afghan military were abandoned by leadership. Not only their president, right, but the entire structure of their military didn't stand up and say, hey, we're going to protect this country. Because the country had already been given to the Taliban. They were told the United States backed out. The United States cut a deal. What do you think you're doing? Military, you think you're going to stand up to the Taliban? Military, the U.S. are gone. You have no allies. You have no backup. Nobody cares about you. No one's coming to save you. Talk about disheartening and cutting their legs out from under them. Literally, what's going on in the United States? Oh, yeah, the Constitution, gone. The federal government doesn't care. They're just doing whatever the hell they want. Cutting the legs out from under the people. Go to your rooms. Put a mask on your face. Shut up. Lock down. Flatten the curve. Do as we say. No free speech for you. United States of America, we've had our legs cut out from under us. It's going to get a lot worse, folks. So the military over there in Afghanistan, though, Where's their officers? Right? Where's their officers? Their lieutenants, captains, their colonels. Well, I just told you a few minutes ago, right, that several were caught, taken to a stadium, and summarily executed. I'm sure if any Afghan military attempted to stand up to the Taliban, who within the first couple of hours of knowing that they could take over the country, first thing they went was to U.S. military bases, got the vehicles, got the weapons, and took those weapons and vehicles and used them to go down and tell the Afghan military, we've got American equipment. What do you think this looks like? They could tell them anything they wanted. We're now with the Americans, and you guys are the enemy. Give up now. Right? You can quit now. Throw down your weapons or tear off your uniform. Swear allegiance to the Taliban, the caliphate, and your life will be spared. Otherwise, you're dead. Now, I like to believe that my life is nothing without liberty. These people over there, they would rather live under the Taliban than fight it to be free. Is America going to suffer that same fate? Are Americans going to be satisfied with less and willing to live as slaves to short little men who make demands of them that change on a daily basis? Or are Americans going to stand up for themselves and say, not going to happen? Liberty first. We're going to find out, folks. Opie Waddell checks in. He says, next time you have someone ask you when you are coming, tell them next Tuesday. That will buy you some time. Very good. Thank you so much, Opie. Tell them next Tuesday. Here's a statement from JJ, Jenny Jen. Hello, Jen. She says, I am more than appalled. I am gravely disturbed and heartbroken. Yeah, totally. We all are. I mean, here's the deal, folks. It used to be that we would hear something like, there's a tragedy. Military helicopter crashed. There was a naval accident. A building burned, and we would all feel bad. And then there would be a news story, ABC, NBC, CBS, that night, and it would explain to us some of the details. And they would say, oh, this was a bad design of the military aircraft. Or, oh, this was an accident that could have been prevented. Or someone did this on purpose. Or a building burned. And we would learn some details, and then this was wrong. This should never happen. We're going to do everything we can to fix the problem that we've identified. Right? It's not going to happen again. We don't like this. What are we getting out of the government? No promise to fix it. There's a time limit to get out on your own. Clock, time's up. Okay, thanks, Lloyd Austin. You're a big fucking helper. How about if they take him in an airplane, drop his ass off in the middle of, I don't know, the middle of what is it, Kandahar, whatever the hell name that place is. It's really, folks, aggravating and frustrating to a massive degree. Drop his ass off in the middle of the fucking desert and say, you're on your own, pal. Enjoy. And see how he likes it. I tell you, yeah, appalled. At least we used to be able to say, okay, the news is interviewing a government person, and the government person is very upset that some emergency happened. A building burned, we need better fire suppression systems. Building burned, we need to get the arsonists. Right? Whatever the problem was, we all were sympathetic to it and understood the gravity, the severity. Like, let's see, I believe it was the MGM fire in Las Vegas. Because of that fire, because of the tragedy of those people dying in a hotel casino, the entire country revamped their fire suppression systems, their alarm systems, their ingress and egress, and to get people out of a building, their emergency exit, everything was redone. So we would not have a tragedy like that again. 30,000 Americans abandoned by the government. Where's the appalling, where's the heartbroken news media? Why aren't they asking people on the street, how do you feel about this? You see, even when, 20, 30, 40 years ago, the media used to control the narrative then. Only their narrative was more genuine. They'd go find people who were upset and then televise upset people. So the rest of us went, oh yeah, they're upset, I'm upset. We're all on the same page here. And then they show the upset politician or the upset leader or the whatever, and they're upset. I don't see anyone in the government upset about this. I don't. I see a spokesman come out, explain how bad things are, and then just, that's how it goes. Hey, look, we got nearly 300 Americans out. Well, yeah, but there's 30,000. If you did 300 in a day, it's going to take 100 days to get 30,000 out. We don't have 100 days, jackass. Remember his answer the other day? Spokesman for the Pentagon? When the Afghan reporter, the woman, was talking about what is going to happen to women and children and young girls under the Taliban because the government just gave up everything. And he's like, yeah, I understand. Crazy. Sally Sue says, John, I've been hearing people say they can, quote, feel something coming. I haven't felt that sense of doom until the last couple of days. And this is continued. Having trouble discerning, is this a reaction to Afghanistan events or is something big really coming? Well, see, the Afghanistan thing is monumental. It is huge, huge. 9/11 was huge. Now, 9/11 occurred. And we were, the American people, just blown away. I was stuck on my couch all day. I could not get up hardly to go to the bathroom or eat. Just stunned. But not just crippled, paralyzed. It was so big. This is 10 times the amount of people that were killed in 9/11. But we're not seeing them suffering. We're not seeing Americans being lined up. We're not seeing Americans suffering on TV. We're not seeing it, but it's happening. We know it's there. It is huge. This is monumental. This is bigger than that, folks. We know China wants to take on and take Taiwan. Our economy is fucking jacked up. Our currency is being printed to shit. Brr. The Supreme Court can't make a decision about what the color of shit is. Politics is on its head. The government seems to blame patriotic Americans for everything that's wrong because I guess they're paying their taxes and obeying the law. Everything is wrong. And that's this sense of doom and dread. It's like, what comes next? Right? What comes next? The light's going to go out? Right? It could be because we've been told by the Secretary of Energy, lights could go out. Is the fuel going to stop? Well, yeah, we've had a hacking. Is the water going to be poisoned? Yeah, they've had it happen in a couple of places where the water systems are hacked. People have gotten into the water supply for major cities and decided they're going to screw with things. Not to mention that in parts of the country, there is no fucking water because of drought. Yeah, that's the deal is we're reacting to Afghanistan because it is such a big chunk all at once. And because it is a massive tragedy. Because for 20 years, we believed that we had fixed the problem there, which was the Taliban, and helped the people be free and that they could stand on their own 2 feet. And then the United States government under Biden, Lloyd, and the Pentagon just piss it all away. Literally, the lives, the treasure, the money, the time, effort, everything just thrown away. So they're walking down muddy streets just killing people. And the ground is literally blood-soaked in many areas. And everything's fine. Biden's going back to his place in Delaware or back to Camp David. Whatever, right? Whatever, fuck it. And the big question, folks, one I haven't been asking. I've been waiting for someone else to ask it. Ready? The big question is, who benefits from all of this? Who benefits? I'm going to leave that question hanging. Who benefits? Who benefited yesterday? Who's benefiting right now? And who is going to benefit tomorrow and into the future because of what the United States has done under the Joe Biden presidency with regard to Afghanistan, Taiwan, Japan, Korea, Iran, Syria, Ukraine, Russia, European Union, Mexico, Canada, Australia. Who benefits? I'll be touching on this a lot. Sue F has a question. How many watts was the portable solar panel you had at the RMZ, and what can you run off it? Okay, I had the 200 watt folding, transportable, super massive, awesome power pack panel. We've got something like that for sale at the preparedmind.club. Now, the big panel I have that I ran off of because I screwed up, folks. I had several little panels. I had, I think, two 15 watters and a 5 watt little handheld folding thing. I messed those up, and I cooked the battery that I had. And that was a big oops. So I got a hold of that solar power company, and they showed up with a 320 watt panel that's basically, it was a 4 foot by 5 foot panel. Maybe it was 3.5 foot. I think it was 3.5 foot by 5 foot panel. And it was 320 watts, I believe. And I had basically a deep cycle or marine battery for that. And I could run a portable refrigerator, on that. And it kept the laptop computer charged. And that kept my phone charged. Now, I had I believe 4 of those panels. Yeah, it was 4 of those panels set up when I had the complete system set up for the RMZ. And that was basically 1,200 watts. Or was it 1,400 watts? And I could run a small fridge, lights, a television, computers. Did I say refrigerator? Anything I wanted. That was an incredible amount of power. When you get down to it and you think about what needs power, water heaters take a lot of power. Washers and dryers take a lot of power. Electric ovens take a lot of power. Cooktops, microwaves take a lot of power. Once you get past that, things don't take a lot of power. Lighting now is LED or compact fluorescent, but LED takes almost no power to have lights. Televisions now, television used to be like a heater in a room. You could go up and it had that nice glow and it could be kind of warm. Televisions, they don't take much power. Computers don't take the power they used to, just because of the way they're designed now. But you can run quite a bit, folks, off of a 200 watt panel. At the RMZ, I had the solar oven, which was great. I had the barbecue and the John Lord kitchen in a can for my cooking needs. So I didn't use electricity for that. It was a jungle. So there's no need to heat water. You don't need a whole lot of power when it gets to surviving SHTF power outage. You'll find out what really is needed. What really is needed. Now, the Berkey water filter works on gravity. It's 2 canisters, one on top of the other. You pour water in the top, it runs through the filtration system, goes into the bottom, open a spigot, water comes out. You've got drinking water, purified, sanitized, doesn't take 1 milliwatt of electricity. It just works by gravity. Essentially, if you've got a water source, get it as clean as you can, pour it through that, you're good. Or Life Straw, same story. If you've got a water filtration system that requires electricity, you need to take that into account. Anyways, it doesn't really take a lot of electricity to get you through SHTF. It just doesn't take a lot. I really like that folding panel because it's portable, because it's heavy duty, and we've got that at the preparedmind.club. So Jolene has worked her tail off, literally, folks. She's got no tail anymore. And to make sure we've got really good equipment there. Things for sale. Oh, by the way, there is a sale on Thrive products at the preparedmind.club. Thrive is the long-term food storage. It is a hell of a big sale. Jolene sent me a thing on that today. And when I was at the RMZ, folks, the best survival chow, the best Armageddon food was the Thrive. I know everyone loves Mountain House and they love whatever they got because that's what they got. I've tried them all. I've eaten them all. I own them all. What is it? Wise, name the brand. Augustin, name the brand. Mountain House, name it. I've had them all. I really do like the Thrive the best. Anyways, we got a big sale on it. So talk to Jolene about that. Now we got Robert. He said, what happened to the men? I've got hard charging vet buddies that know better, falling like flies, making excuses about taking it and giving up hope. What happened to standards? Well, you see, if the mainstream media showed real men, the men would go, oh yeah, that's right. Now I remember being a real man. If I was allowed to talk about it and facts and varying opinions and show examples and give information, statistics, data, if I could talk about it, that information would help other people see it for what it is and give them the information they need so they can stand up for themselves. But because we're not allowed to talk about it, everyone's like, well, I guess everything is fine because they're telling us it is safe, it is a good idea, it is needed, it is required, and they're telling us that everyone else is taking it. Well, folks, I don't know anyone who is taking it. I go by and I check to see where it is given to people, and I see no one getting it. Monkey see, monkey do. We're being told that all the monkeys are doing. So everyone says, oh, okay, I guess I'll do it. Monkey see, monkey do. We're told that if you don't, you're a bad person. You're a bad monkey. No one wants to be the bad monkey. I'm telling you that if you don't, you're the good monkey. But am I allowed to say that? No, no one's allowed to say shit anymore when it comes to it. That is how they're controlling the narrative. But people still aren't getting it the way they want them to get it. And so they're threatening to what? Create little Hitler camps and send people to these Hitler camps. What did I call them? Marxitration camps, concentration camps. If you don't get it, if you don't obey them, they'll come and get you. That's what they're threatening people with. The time is coming. Where are the real men? I don't know. Maybe it's going to take a bunch of Big Marge Greens and Lauren Boeberts. Maybe it's going to take the Jolenes of the world that stand up and go, not me, not my kids. Nuh-uh. We all need to, folks, stand up and act ye like men. The time is coming faster and faster. They're pushing it. They're pushing us. I am not promoting violence. I'm not glamorizing or glorifying violence. I'm not recommending anyone do anything hateful or harmful, dangerous or stupid. I want everyone to behave in a lawful manner. But I'm telling you, there are going to be people who get really pissed off, and it's going to come to an end. All of the stupid there's going to be a price to pay, folks. You cannot violate the laws of the universe. Any law. The law of gravity. You go up in a helicopter, well, eventually you're going to run out of fuel and the helicopter will come down. If you try defying the law of gravity by staying way up in the air, you will fall and crash into a huge explosion. Eventually the helicopter comes back down. You cannot defy the laws of nature forever. You can overcome them, you can fool them, you can get some time, but ultimately everything reverts back to the way it has to. The way it has to. You can't print money unending, unceasing, and have it have value. That violates laws of nature, right? Because people understand it has no value. Two plus two is 4. It is not 5. It is not 6. And if you base your machinery, your engineering on bad math, things will fail. Laws of nature do not allow for cheating. If the government is corrupt and it lies, cheats, and steals, ultimately it causes a massive crash. Corruption causes failure. The laws of nature do not accommodate it. Period. Folks, we've gone well over an hour again because it's that important. I will be back tomorrow with you, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. I'm not going anywhere. This weekend, Sunday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. We will do on Patreon and Patreon only, the worldwide weekly wrap-up uncensored. So tune in for that. I want to thank everybody for supporting the Prepared Mind channel, for doing super chats, for signing up as members, for coming to patreon.com, for making PayPal donations. Everything you guys have done supports us and what we're doing here. Without you, I go do something else. Apparently, everyone wants me here, bringing you what's happening, bringing you various opinions and perspectives, ideas, concepts. And you guys, folks, are sharing a lot of information with me. You're doing a lot of the groundwork with me. And I'm the clearinghouse, right? This and the rsyndicate.com, everything prepping, the rsyndicate.com. That's Uman right there, you know, and it's been really good, folks. The old blue wrench, right? This is what you fix problems with, folks, right there. The tools of the trade. Do you have your tools, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Do you have your tools? Right? Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Thank you for everything you do. Godspeed and Semper Fi. Always faithful. Always faithful. Be faithful to yourself, what you believe, and all that's important to you. I'll see you next time.